Okay, I'd like to then again introduce myself. Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow. This is our inaugural teleconference on December 29th, 2010. I would like to welcome all of you. This is very exciting, and Stewart and I have been all abuzz all day long because it's great to see the interest in people who really want to chat with him live or hear him tell the answers to all of your questions live. So it's going to be a great conference. He's been working very diligently, poring over your questions and sorting and figuring out which will be the most of interest to all of you. So with that introduction, I want to remind you that those who have the basic membership, you are always each month welcome to email in one question to Stewart, which he will answer. And those of you with the elite membership can ask one question on the phone. But because this was our inaugural one, we ask that you send in several questions so we have lots of things to keep us going. With that, I would like to introduce Stewart A. Swerdlow, and he will begin with some very interesting information for you.
Hi, everybody. It's Stewart here. And again, welcome you to my inner circle, the very inaugural one. I do want to start a little bit with current events because a lot of people have been writing in and asking about that. And so if any of you have read my news story on the website today, you know that I had mentioned a lot about, what would aliens think if they had seen what's going on the world right now, what kind of reaction would they have? And for the most part, our planet is in a really sorry state with murders, kidnappings, explosions, wars, economic crises. As we end 2010, we're seeing all of the stories come to a big conclusion here, a big head, and it's really not a pretty picture. So unfortunately, we enter 2011 with a lot of issues and problems, and as I have mentioned for many, many months now on the website and in lectures, 2011 is an everything year. And what that means is every possibility, every opportunity, every event that you could possibly imagine will happen at one point or another, and that's both good and bad. So it can be economic disaster, there can be geological upheavals, which I know that there will be. As you know, no matter where you are in the world, the weather has been a big issue, even snowing in Australia during their summertime, which is absolutely unheard of. And, of course, in North America and in Europe, the weather has been very severe. And we will also see political events happening in 2011 that may be unexpected, as well as issues involving UFOs, space information that will be revealed. And, of course, as we go through each month on the Inner Circle, you will probably have questions on this, and I will respond to them. And I'd like to actually get started now with some of your questions because we have a lot of them that have come in, and there's a lot of you out there. You should know that on this teleconference call, we have people from all over the world, North and South America, Europe, Asia, and I do believe maybe even Australia. So we have a lot of continents that are involved in this particular teleconference. So welcome to everybody. It's really a global event. And with that, I'm going to get started. And what I'm going to do is I'll read the question that was sent in. I'm not going to say who sent it in or where they're from because that's private information. But I'll read the question, and then I'll give the answer, and then I'll go on to the next question. As things come up, I will also address that as well. So let's get started now. And these questions are in no particular order. As they came in, they were printed out and handed to me, and so I'm just going to read them in the order in which I received them. The first question is kind of a health question. It says, you've recommended infrared saunas and the energy or frequency absorbed. Is the energy or frequency absorbed from sitting by a fire equivalent, other than not coming from all directions at once? And my answer is that no, sitting by a fire, really, the benefit is just getting the heat only, and it can actually activate pineal gland and programming, whereas the infrared sauna does permeate the entire body for healing, and it goes through all of the cells simultaneously from all directions. And, of course, when you use an infrared sauna, you have to be very careful to build up very slowly so that, for example, on the very first day that you use it, you're only going to sit in the sauna at 98 degrees Fahrenheit for perhaps 5 to 10 minutes. And then daily, you're going to increase that amount by a couple of minutes so that ultimately you're spending 30 minutes at the highest temperature in the sauna, which would be about possibly 50 degrees centigrade or over 130 Fahrenheit for about 30 days in a row. And that will basically remove any illnesses, bacteria, viruses that are in the body and really get that healing energy going. So it's a very good opportunity. In fact, it actually can replace medical procedures, surgeries, and antibiotics, etc. It really is a fabulous way of getting well, and I do recommend the infrared saunas for those of you who have an ability to have access to that. Next question that I have is a very interesting one, and in fact, I've heard this question many times before, and I never really addressed it, I don't think, on my former Q&A, so here it is, and the question is it okay to put members of the Illuminati on the golden altar? Now, that's very interesting because, for goodness sake, how many members of the Illuminati are there out there? Quite a bit. And so the answer is yes. Bottom line is yes, you can put anybody on the golden altar if they are an issue for you or if you feel that person or group of people have reflected a mind pattern for you that needs to be removed. So absolutely you can. I would say, though, that in the beginning, when you're first doing the golden altar release work, maybe start with people, what I call local people to you, those who you know in your family, those you know for sure have created situations in your childhood and your lifetime where they have imprinted a mind pattern on you, an emotional set as well. And then you can put them on the golden altar. And then as you progress and family members and friends and people who are close to you have been released, then you can go on to a little more detail, a little more general, like political figures, the Illuminati, etc. But it's a very interesting concept. And in fact, one client of mine over the years came up with an idea that this person had so many people to put on the golden altar that she devised it the size of a soccer field or a football field, also in gold, and she just put all the people on there that she can imagine, hundreds and thousands of them, and released all of that into the violet flame. So be creative with your golden altar release work, and absolutely anybody can go on there. But always remember, no matter how many people you put on, you are the one who is last to be released in the golden altar. Next question, I think maybe a very general question, and that is there a way out of this reptilian version of reality, and what is that? Well, that's a very, very big question, and quite honestly, my entire work is based on that because, as you know, I teach about the reptilian mindsets, and we must also remember that humanity has reptilian DNA. So it's not really a matter of removing them because they are really a part of us. They are part of the half of the formula that created humanity on this planet. So to remove or get the way out of this reptilian version of reality, well, first of all, we have to remember that our mind patterns attracted it and helped to create it. So the bottom line of this would be that in order to remove this or change this, you have to change your mind pattern. Remember my analogy that I tell you over and over again. Thoughts are like film, the brain is the projector, and physical reality is the screen. So if you don't like the movie that's playing around you, you need to change the film, which is the way you think. So that's the bottom line of removing the reptilian version or any version of this reality from your experience. But the bottom line is hyperspace work and deprogramming, which are both very important these days. And as I mentioned previously, using the golden altar and doing release work, growing up the child within, because that may have imprinting of many different aspects of a reptilian nature. Of course, doing your oversoul work. All of these things combined will change the version of reality that you experience. And remember, you can create any kind of reality that you wish. Our minds are like a virtual reality machine. Whatever we put into it, whatever we plug into it, that is what will be projected out. And so we are responsible for everything that we have created in front of us. Next question. Very interesting one. This one comes from Asia. And this question says, very simple question, what is the technique of time travel? Yeah, simple question, but a big, big answer. So what's the technique of time travel? And that is, first of all, you must match the frequency vibration of the object, person, place, or thing that you want to send to a particular time period, and match that to the frequency vibration of that local time and space in that time period. So, for example, if you want to project back to the time of Christ, and you know that in the Middle East, in that particular time period, the vibration was such and such vibration numerically, if you take that number, that numerical vibration, and you vibrate the person, place, or thing in this time period that you want to send there, so that there's a match between what you're sending and where it's going, we know that every point in time and space is completely unique, and that once you match the 2 points in time and space with the same vibration, then there's an automatic transmission and attraction so that the two become as one. And there are different versions to this kind of time travel. For example, you can have a vehicle, like, for example, UFOs are really time travel machines as well. And if you vibrate that machine, that craft at a certain rate, it will disappear from the current rate of vibration that you're looking at, and it will appear in a rate of vibration that matches to what it's using now. So basically, that's how you accomplish time travel physically. Mentally, of course, I teach the green spiral staircase, which is a mental form of time travel, and you can go to any point in time and space that way. You can use mentally oversoul work, computer of the mind, really the delta T antenna in violet, which I teach in my simultaneous existence DVDs and seminar. So there's mentally many different ways that you can do time travel. Physically, you must match the point in time and space. Now, I should mention also that there are natural openings, or I should say natural vortices on the Earth and in space that connect different universes together, and even time periods within the same universe, and that's kind of a wormhole. So, for example, the Bermuda Triangle in the Atlantic, the Devil's Triangle in the Pacific, the Lake Michigan Triangle here at Lake Michigan. There are various points here on this planet where you can just actually enter into a particular location and come out in a different location, because that is the way that you would travel naturally in a vortex. I will also tell you that the government has locations, for example, the Pine Gap location in Australia, where they have specifically anchored this location on Earth to the Mars underground. So literally, it's absolutely like walking from one door through another, and in a matter of a split second, you're in another location. And that's because there's a fixed connection and anchor from point A to point B, with the energetics connecting. So you're basically going from one room to another and going to a different time and space. So those are the different ways or techniques that time travel is possible. And of course, when you leave your body and when you finally pass on and you go into another non-physical existence, simply using thought and thought alone will transmit you to wherever you want to go. Many people who have left their bodies through a near-death experience or had actually died and then come back have stated that when they left their bodies and they were kind of floating around, whatever they thought of, whatever place they thought of, they were instantly there. And that's because time and space are an illusion. They really don't exist except for the illusion in physical reality. All space, all time is really one, and everything is part of mind. So in actuality, it's wherever you travel within your own mind, that's how you can move from one point to another. Okay, now I have a couple of questions here, kind of related, that are about simultaneous existence and that kind of a thing. And this person says that they were watching my DVDs on simultaneous existence, and they were drawn to merging with a non-physical aspect of their oversoul. And this person kept wanting to do this merging over and over, and even the next day, too. So the question is this appropriate to continue or to merge with various parts of your oversoul, non-physically? And the answer is yes, because merging with any part of yourself is obviously okay, because it's all part of you and the greater part of you. So absolutely, when I teach my work on merging, those of you who watch the True Reality History DVDs, parts 1, 2, and 3, I do talk about using a big brown merger through the body in various locations and merging with all other aspects of yourself of a particular type that enable you to enhance yourself, change mind patterns, alter a condition in which you're living, that kind of thing. So not only can you merge with the non-physical within your oversoul, but you can also merge with any physical alternate reality in which you exist, as long as you specifically state and think of which one. So you're not going to say I merge with all my alternate selves everywhere. You're going to say I merge with all my alternate selves in every universe where I exist, where I'm ecstatically wealthy, or I'm perfectly healthy in every way, or whatever it is that you want to accomplish. You merge with that, and you have to be very specific, because it is like a formula, and the universe and your oversoul will do whatever you say. And if you're not specific, you might get something else. And remember what the great Gatsby said: be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it, and maybe a little bit more. So be very, very careful when you do this kind of work. Be very specific. The next part of this question said this person had a dream where they were awakened by a doorbell ringing, but not physically. It was obviously in the dream state. And they knew from my dream dictionary that this represents the arrival of a new frequency in their life. Well, a few months later, exactly 3 months later to the day, they had another doorbell ringing, and they thought of a person with whom they're in a relationship, and they thought that perhaps this person was going to be more serious with them, and the person asking the question wanted to know, well, is this true? Am I fooling myself? Is it programming, self-sabotage? What is this? Well, the answer is it could be any of the above. It could be programming. It could be part of your self-sabotage. But when you hear doorbells ringing and you hear it exactly 3 months to the date and there's this kind of a sequence or pattern to it, this means that there is a new frequency coming into your life, and you should be doing your release work, growing up the child within, all these basics that I have mentioned to you earlier in this teleconference, so that you clear out the closet, so to speak, to allow room for the new frequency to enter in. You know, it's when you go shopping for new clothes, you need a place to put it, and before you can do that, you need to get rid of your old clothes. Well, it's the same thing with frequencies. When you want to change something, add someone new, have a new relationship, you need to clear up or clear out the old ones so that there's energetic space in your life for the new one. Otherwise, you might be blocking and keeping it away. And perhaps when this person had dreams consistently, especially in a 3-month time sequence of the doorbell ringing, maybe Oversoul was saying to the person, hey, you didn't get it the first time. Maybe you need to wake up again and listen to the bell ringing and make some changes. So I think that's basically what was going on with this person. Need for change. Pay attention to these things when it happened. If this had been a programming bell ringing, it would have been a very shrill noise. You would have seen very odd colors. You would have had strange sensations. You would have known something wasn't right. But if it's just a doorbell ringing and you're thinking of a relationship, it has to do with that and need to make room for the new one. Okay? Another question that has been a very simple one that someone emailed in. It's actually 3 words, and the 3 words are, who created Ekankar? And as we know, some of you who aren't familiar with Ekankar, it is a esoteric mind formula work, if you will, through meditation, visualization, etc. However, unfortunately, Ekankar was created by the Illuminati as a form of mind control so that you would concentrate on certain things and then, unfortunately, tap into the astral. And so that's what, unfortunately, Ekankar is. Yes, there are some very good aspects to it, as in all disinformation. There's always a lie in the middle or on the ends, but truth surrounding or inside, so you get kind of hooked into the truth part. So you have to be careful. I would say if you stick to your own hyperspace work and do your own thing with that, you're better off than belonging to any kind of specific philosophy or almost a religion or that kind of thing. Okay? Another question that has come in relating to the planet Nibiru, which was destroyed in April 2003. And I had mentioned that back then that there were some surviving Anunnakis who took shelter underground in Mars. And the question that this person is asking is, are they still a threat to the human race? And the answer is they were never a threat to the human race. In fact, the Illuminati were a threat to them. As you know, in ancient times, the Anunnaki came to the earth and they were interested in mining gold and silver and other platinum, other precious metals, etc. And they created a slave race, which became in Africa, which became the black race as we know today. And they also had connections to the Sumerian civilization in what is presently Iraq. Well, what you should know is that, yes, it was destroyed in April 2003. However, there were other survivors who were taken to the Kuiper Belt, and that is where a lot of them are located right now. So they have joined those who are against the Illuminati, which is pretty much everybody out there in space, except for the Draco. They are out there with the Kuiper Belt beings as part of this massive buildup that's out there. And for goodness sake, there's maybe hundreds, if not thousands, of different races out there, most of which have never been seen or witnessed before, many of which come from other spaces, other times, other universes. So, they're still out there. There never have been a threat, the Anunnaki. They were just actually coming to reclaim what they had created, and the Illuminati didn't want them back here, so they destroyed Nibiru. Contrary to what you might see out there on the Internet now, talking about this 10th planet that's coming in and all of these things, this is false information. In fact, I just saw information that was sent to me from Germany a couple of days ago stating that the U.S. said that there's a planet named Xena, which is out there, which is really a little object in the Kuiper Belt. It's not a planet. So there's a lot of disinformation out there, and basically just know that Nibiru no longer exists. Another person wrote in a personal question about their complex archetype that was done for them. And the archetype was for releasing the past. As you know, we do complex archetypes specifically arranged for the person to accomplish whatever it is the goal that they're looking for, relationships, releasing the past, what have you. But this person wanted to know why in the series of archetypes on their template, there was what looked to them like a water sign, 3 waves, 3 like part of the dolphin frequency, inside of a triangle. They know that the triangle is perfection, but why is the water sign in the triangle? What does that mean to my mind pattern? Well, the complex archetype was about releasing the past. Part of that has to do with your emotions, and having the water symbol inside the triangle represents perfecting those emotions and healing them and dealing with them so that you can release the past, because if you're still hung up on the emotions, you can't let go of it. So this is very, very important to work on that release work. I can't emphasize that enough, especially as we come now to the conclusion of 2010. Every one of us needs to really make an effort to squeeze out the last remnants of these old emotions that are holding us back, because I'll tell you what, 2011 will be a roller coaster ride for a lot of people if they're not prepared. And the more emotions you have hanging on you, the more the roller coaster is going to dip and roll. So you want to have a smooth ride with no burdens hanging over you or on you. So please, people out there listening, do your release work. It's very, very important. Next question is, what is the mind pattern? What mind pattern does a person have who attracts getting shot with a gun? Well, that's another big question, and of course, it would have to be specific to the individual, and that was not mentioned here in this question. But generally speaking, when you either dream or physically have a person get shot with a gun, it represents being hurt sexually and verbally, because guns are a phallic symbol, but bullets represent harsh words that are shot against you to hurt you. So whoever has this experience obviously has some self-worth issues, self-punishment, self-destruction issues that are involving sexual hurt and verbal abuse. So again, need to work on that, especially the self-sabotage, self-punishment. There's also a question here which they said was the most important question of all, and that is, what is Stewart's middle name? What does the A stand for in Stewart A. Swerdlow? Well, it stands for Alan, A-L-A-N. So yes, my initials are SAS, just like the Scandinavian Airlines and just like the British secret military organization. So I have a very interesting name. And of course, if you drop the A, it's an SS, and that has German Nazi connotation, so I like to leave the A in. So moving right along, we'll go to the next questions here. And these are a little bit more complicated, this particular one, and let me read this. This person wrote in that they did a visualization of stepping off the staircase, the green spiral staircase, and they were deep underground. To my surprise, I saw the sun. Next, my attention was drawn to a pool of viscous liquid and semi-solid remains of an infant. I was horrified. I have since learned from a radio interview you did on Red Ice Creation some years ago that these two images are reptilian representation of God mind and infant sacrifice. This frightened me. How do I work with this information? Well, very interesting. Yes, it does represent the things that you mentioned. I would suggest that you read the ritual deprogramming techniques in True Reality of Sexuality, because this is apropos to that type of image that you received. Also, when you get these images ever again, you should immediately flush yourself with violet and use the brown merger symbol at your pineal gland and send all of it up into your oversoul immediately. Use the silver infinity over your crown chakra. Don't hold on to it. Remember that if you're doing the green spiral staircase, it's the mental time travel, as I mentioned earlier, and it's showing you something that is connected to your life right now.
and that's why this image came up. Otherwise, it would have remained buried. So there's something in your life now. Maybe you're being triggered ritualistically, programming-wise, and you need to do your deprogramming work in order to diffuse this. The next question was about not relying on synthetic thyroid prescriptions for a diagnosis of hypothyroidism, and using kelp and other nutritional supplements, as well as color work, hyperspace work, in order to get the thyroid repaired. And, of course, this person had a large issue with stress, which was a factor. Their father died recently of an undiagnosed illness. Now this person is experiencing anxiety nearing panic, ringing in the ear, waking with puffy eyes, and often feeling lethargy and sluggishness, which, by the way, are all signs of a thyroid issue. Also, they can be signs of a nervous disorder, so there's many different things that could be going on here. There's also, she's doing work on the recovery of childhood trauma, and that had fear and panic involved that this person's been carrying for over 50 years. And so she's been healing with that, but she's concerned that she may be missing some other health issue that needs her support. And can you clarify the distinctions for me? I believe I'm on the right path, but I get frightened because I no longer am simply relying on the medical model to tell me what to do. I have taken steps for greater responsibility for wellness, but can't always know what my body is needing. And that's, a very good point, because a lot of people who have relied for so many years on the medical conventional system, and then they go to alternative hyperspace work, there's a comfort zone that's breached, and the boundaries are breached because people get nervous. Oh, my God, I'm not on my medication anymore. I'm not seeing my doctor. What's going to happen to me? And the doctors would like you to be scared. They'd like you to think, well, if you don't do what we tell you, you're going to have all these problems. You're going to die, and God knows what. So, I understand all of that. But you know what? It actually can be a good sign that all of this comes up in the beginning, because it means the body is starting to purge of whatever it is that's wrong with it. And as you know, when you clean a dirty pot, the first thing that comes up is all the junk. And as you know from my newsletter the other day, when the sink gets clogged up, and all the junk comes up, and everything looks pretty horrible and clogged up. Well, the same thing with body parts, even like with the thyroid. So things are going to come up, symptoms are going to arise, and yes, they're uncomfortable, but that just means you're in the process of working through them. I do suggest that you should be taking kelp, both in capsule form and even maybe using the dried sea vegetables in your salads and soups on a daily basis. You should be taking the equivalent of 1 teaspoon, I should say between a teaspoon and a tablespoon of organic sea salt, and I do prefer either the French or Celtic versions in your diet every single day. And also taking the thyroid glandulars, which I do like the brand of Standard Process that has a very high quality. So between all of that, the kelp, sea salt, thyroid glandulars, the sea vegetables, putting the ice blue back in the thyroid area, and, of course, your release work and sending everything up to Overzol, that is really what you should be working on. Of course, if one thing you should be doing is taking your body temperature every day. If your body temperature is really low, then that can be a sign of weak thyroid, and you might want to increase whatever it is you're doing. So I do recommend that. I also recommend taking saliva strip tests for THS and T3, T4 hormones, and that will tell you on a daily basis what the levels are in your body, and then you will know what it is that you need to adjust or increase. They do have homeopathic thyroid formulas that you can take in addition to everything I mentioned to boost the function of the thyroid. But bottom line is, whenever we have an issue in the throat area, it's because because you're suppressing things that you need to say. You're not speaking up for yourself in a tactful and honest manner. And you need to express completely. Use the color maroon around the ice blue so that you can courageously say whatever it is that you need to say. Okay? So I'm going to move along now to the next series of questions. And these questions, they're a little bit interesting, so let me read them to you. First one is, looking at the templates in the Healer's Handbook, some are indicated with more than one color code. How should more than one color for one template be interpreted, and when or how should the different colors for one template be used? Well, first of all, in the Healer's Handbook, those templates are specifically designed for either use under your pillow or especially in a radionics machine. So when you use them in a radionics machine, you would have color filters that you would then place in layers over the template so that those frequencies would be transmitted in the vibrations. You can also use them mentally and layer them around you. You can use the color filters under your pillow as well. Basically, the colors are part of the formula for whatever it is in that template that you're trying to achieve. Next question in the Healer's Handbook, both the templates and the alphabet for name analysis sometimes have more than one meaning for one template or letter. How should that be interpreted, and when or how should it be used? Well, I did think I explained it in the chapter on name analysis in the Healer's Handbook, but I'll just say it here briefly, is that, for example, most of the letters have three different meanings, and I have them in a specific order. So if your name has a letter more than one time, then the first time you see the letter, you use the first meaning. The second time you see the letter in the name, you use the second meaning, and so on and so on. And then when you get to the fourth, if you have the letter four times, then you go back to the first meaning. It just goes back into that cycle. So that's how you would use that for name analysis. Next thing says here, many people say we need to control our thoughts, and at the same time, many people say we are not our thoughts. Are both statements true, and if so, how so? Well, that could get a little bit complicated here. Basically, you are a soul personality. Your soul personality is a collection of thought bands and experiences. So in effect, you are thought. You are a thought in the mind of God mind. So you can add or subtract any of them as you see fit. And, of course, doing release work, affirmations, deprogramming, all of these things will change the thought bands and change you, because your thoughts will create you physically and energetically, and also your experiences. So yes, you do need to, I shouldn't say so much to control the thoughts as to monitor them and decide which ones do I want to keep and which ones do I want to change or remove. That has to be your choice. So yes, you have to be a police person of your own thinking. Next question. If we have had lifelines in much more advanced civilizations and beyond, even in the non-physical, what are we doing on Earth? Well, that's a good question, and it depends on each one individually, because every one of you has a different reason for being here. And in fact, if you do your interpretation of your name analysis and you do the number codes associated with it, including the birth energy numbers, you will find the reasons why you are here on this earth. You will find your main reasons, secondary reasons, backup reasons. Everyone is different. But ultimately, we're all here to overcome and surpass mind patterns, experiences, and to upgrade ourselves into ways that we want to improve and uplift to higher level of consciousness and thinking. We're not here accidentally. We're here, and we're not here as a punishment. We're here to learn. It's a school. It's a rough school, and we need to get through it well and graduate and then move on to something a little more appropriate. Next question. How do the Illuminati capture a soul personality to be born on Earth? Well, they do have technology, electromagnetic devices. that can actually act as a magnet to pull your soul personality frequency by using the reciprocal energy, and then they can store it in a containment field where you are energetically unable to move out of that containment field. Of course, that's what they'd like you to think. Ultimately, you can never, ever be separated from the God mind within. So as long as you are aware of that and connect to that, you can definitely get out of every situation. And the next question is related to it, and it says, how do the Illuminati capture the energy of a living person or group on Earth, and for what purpose, and how do they use that energy? Well, it's the same answer as the last question. It's electromagnetic frequencies that capture people or groups of people. The purpose depends on what they want. You know, they might need to capture a soul personality because it had lifetime experiences in other lifetimes that they might be able to use for a particular function. Or that person might be a problem and they want to keep them out of a certain situation. It could be a programming function, an experiment. They might want to use a person as a spy. There's so many reasons why they would use a person and for what purpose. A lot of alien groups, for example, manufacture clone bodies, and then they would capture a soul personality, and they would stick that soul personality into that body for whatever purpose they have in mind. It might even be an artificial body, for example, a robot or a cyborg kind of body that then is used for whatever purpose they have in mind. So big question, you know, and there's a lot of possible answers to that, and perhaps I will talk about that in a seminar at some point. Next question here. What is your opinion of Tai Chi? Is it programming like yoga? Well, Tai Chi, yoga, all of the Asian or East Asian physical exercises that we have learned about, for example, these are reptilian exercises. Some of them are actually insect-like. Karate, for example, is based on praying mantis movements. And yes, we are, even here in the West, we have reptilian DNA within us. But these can be used to open up reptilian DNA, and they also can be used for programming. But contrary to all that, Tai Chi and yoga and all these other exercises can be used for helping the body energetically as well. We must remember that these are energetic exercises. They're not really physical. So when you do any of them, like yoga and Tai Chi, you will build up an excess of energy that was really meant for a reptilian-style body, which is very heavy and powerful. So you need to expend that energy in some kind of physical activity so that doesn't burn you up. You know, when you look at people in East Asia, or even anyone who practices yoga or these energetic exercises frequently, they're pretty thin. They're very weak-looking, even though they might be physically or energetically strong. They're very weak-looking, and so they're not going to fight powerful energies. So you need to really expend that. I like, for example, for people when they do these energetic exercises, to then do some kind of weight training exercise or some kind of physical work around their home or yard that they need to do, and that will help in that category. Someone else writes in, what is the mind pattern behind wanting to be the first to accomplish something professionally? Is it so one can perceive the prestige and accolades that go with it? In other words, the first person to do such and such. Why is this important to people? Is it an ego thing? And the answer is yes, it is an ego thing, but it usually comes from being ridiculed in childhood or punished in childhood, and trying to be first all the time is a way to prove a point, to show yourself and others that you are number one and you are important, and they were always wrong about you and putting you down. So when you do feel a need to be first in everything, look at why, go back into your childhood, do that green spiral, do the child within, and see what it is that made you feel like you need to be on top all the time. Next question, and I've heard this one before, and I need to address it, and that is, please comment on how the heart may be the most powerful organ of human body to manifest unconditional love. Many presenters argue that the heart is more powerful than the brain and connected to higher levels. Usually, these organizations promote breathing exercises to increase the power. Well, I'm going to disagree with all of that, and I'm going to say that there's no one organ in the physical body that is any more important than another or more powerful than another. Every single one is important. That's why you have it. The most important thing you have is the mind, and it's where the mind, that's where everything is all centered. The heart is just a symbol of the emotion, a symbol of unconditional love, but only the mind can increase that power. So even though we have chakra systems with specific functions in the heart areas where the emotions are centered, that is not where the most power is. Each one of them is powerful, and we need to look at the mind more than anything else instead of any specific organ. And then a follow-up question to this is, would it make sense to say that the heart is one of the human tools driven by consciousness at hyperspace levels, and that heart power is the manifestation of consciousness in the form of love or other positive/negative forms? And once again, the heart is a manifestation of the mind. The body is just the end result. It can be two-sided, unconditional and conditioned. I can love you unconditionally, or I can love you to death. So both are from the mind pattern. So the heart itself is driven by consciousness, yes, but so is every other part of the body. So we need to get away from that New Age kind of philosophy, where everything is heart and love, light, and peace, because it's just not that way. Next question is, and I think we're coming to the end of our questions here. Next question is, I read in your Q&A a long time ago about someone who wanted to try ayahuasca, and your reply was that it opens you up to the lower astral planes where the reptilians are located. David Icke took this narcotic, this ayahuasca, and he said he had a positive experience where a woman's voice was talking to him about how we are all infinite consciousness. So I'm confused now. How do you know about this drug being dangerous? Well, first of all, you should know David doesn't do that anymore, because we did speak to him about that, and he did not have a pleasant experience. He got sick, he threw up, it was uncomfortable. He really did not like the experience that he had. Hearing voices like that is coming from the astral plane, and very often it can also be related to programming. We have the greatest drug that anyone could ever have, and that's the mind, and that's connected to the God mind within. So you do not need any extraneous or artificial means to connect to a higher self or other information. All you need to do is your hyperspace work. You need to do your oversoul work and connect to the God mind, and then you can accomplish anything. I can tell you that I have studied this extensively. I've spoken to many people, both in North America, South America, and Europe, who have tried ayahuasca. And I'm going to say a good chunk of them, had very bad experiences. Many of them saw reptilians. They felt like they were being held hostage in the astral. They were violently ill, throwing up black liquids, headaches. They were sick for days after. That's not a spiritual experience. That's taking an overdose of a drug that's hurting your body. And people who have taken it for long periods of time really have become ill. So I do not recommend that, or any artificial drug or narcotic, to experience spiritual experiences at all. Use your mind. It is not a good thing. I have also, worked for a time as a developmental specialist in mental health clinics, and I have seen people who have taken these narcotics who've never come back to normal. They have never come back to normal at all. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, we're getting questions in now from all over the place, even on the... and so, hold on a second, please.
Hi.
I'm sorry. Okay. Next question is, if we do mental work, if suddenly we reach the astral plane, what color do we see? And the person says, normally when I did your technique, I usually get a high feeling and can sometimes feel energy emitting from my head, especially when I do oversoul communication. I can feel I'm releasing all that I don't want up and out of me. I want to know that when you see a symbol and a color, does it appear as an imagination, or are we actually seeing it like a dream version that we are aware of? Kind of a complicated question here, maybe the way it was worded, but let me just go step by step. A color code for the lower astral planes especially is red, and that's why we always see red in satanic rituals, etc. But sometimes we may also see darker yellows, orange, and hot pink, for example. These are all aspects of the astral. In other words, it's very psychedelic in nature when you enter into the astral plane, but red is the predominant. It is better to use an initiation color of royal blue or violet, and you can even use silver and gold when you're doing this kind of work. Imagination is real. Really, what is imagination? It's a visualization. So it is part of hyperspace protocol. It's a creative energy from the pineal gland. And as far as it being like a dream version, well, as you know from my dream work, dreams are real. They're just as valid as the waking state, except that perhaps the rules and regulations are different. And remember, since the normal quote-unquote person sleeps 8 hours a day or 1/3 of the day, if you extrapolate that into an average lifetime of 75 years, which is probably even more now, that means you've been asleep 25 years of your life at the end of your life. That's a quarter of a century to be asleep. And so you really need to know what's going on there. And yes, unfortunately, much of the time, when we enter into the dream state, we do enter into the astrals and lower astrals, and that's why very often we'll see dead people, we'll see entities. The lower astral feels real. In other words, when you're in the lower astral, it's almost like you're in physical reality. You can feel, touch, sense, just like you would in the physical, except it's a little bit more. And also, whatever you think of in the astral will appear right before you. So if you're scared and you're thinking of, oh, am I going to see some kind of horrible thing, that's what you're going to see. So you need to be very careful when you're doing out-of-body work, and that's why I say please bypass the astral and go right to hyperspace. All right, there's another question here. Okay, there's two questions here. First one, I had an Akashic Records reading where I asked about my angels and spirit guides around me, and I was told that I had two guardian angels named Peter and Paul. Well, what happened to Mary? Offering male energy protection and who had saved me from a couple of situations, as well as, hold on, I lost. A couple of situations, as well as 3 Pleiadians around me. How do I know when the Akashic reading is correct? Well, first of all, right away, this is not correct because, first of all, as I mentioned many, many, many times, the spirit guides, all of that, basically are programming. The only guide you have is your oversoul. Yes, you may have relatives or friends who have passed on who will be helping you from the non-physical. Yes, that's very possible. But there are no guardian angels or spirit guides assigned to you. So when I hear things like that or about Pleiadians, I know right away it's programming. And whoever did that reading must have been very la-la into New Age and did not know what they were seeing or saying. second question is, I have bought the Balance product over a couple of months ago, and I have seen some difference in my appearance and cravings for some foods or less. Can you speak... hold on a second. This is from an iPhone, and it's kind of screwing up over here. The question was about balance. Can you speak of what to expect with this product and its effects? Okay, so the Balance products we know are organically herbal. What they're designed to do, and perhaps Janet can add in what I leave out, what they're designed to do is to recalibrate the digestive system, the frequencies of the body so that everything is energetically enhanced and working basically in balance, hence the name. It's for your hormones, your enzymes, the digestive system, and also for the get rid of parasites and bacteria, everything that's in the body that shouldn't be there will be purged out. And when you use this product, again, it's a good idea to do detoxing like sea salt baths, infrared sauna, ionic foot baths, even deep tissue massage, everything that would purge the body of the junk that's been accumulated for years and years and years will be purged out. And depending on your volume, your frequency, your calibration of your body, height, weight, etc., that will determine how much of the balance you need. So you would take some in the morning, some in the afternoon. Some people who are in really bad shape have to take it in the middle of the day as well. It's also recommended that you take this along with the constitutional enzymes and even the Endocrine Plus formula so that you get an overall healing of the body. Janet, do you have anything that you want to add to that? Okay, so those are all the questions that have been sent in to me for now. Yeah, there's elite members out there who are able to ask verbally any question that they like. Are there any out there that would like to ask a question?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry I got late into the call. I had tremendous problem with the connection, but anyway, I'm on the Skype mode. So I don't know if you have answered my question, which is, how do you get out of this reptilian version of the world?
Yes, I answered that earlier, and you can go and listen to the recorded version of this and get the answer to that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It says that it says reconnecting, so there's a problem with this. That everybody's been dropped. No, not right now. Hello, can anyone hear us?
I can hear you, but the call is just, I had to call in about 4 or 5 times to reconnect again.
Yes.
It was just awful.
This is, it says that there's a problem right now and we're reconnecting, so I'm hoping we get back on, and if not, there's nothing we can do about that other than we do have everything being recorded. So we will hang on the line, but it looks like there's a problem with the conferencing service right now. So
yes, Janet, can I just say something to you? I received your symbols for, a lot of issues, and I have been using them under my pillow. They have been working wonderfully.
Fabulous.
Yes, and somehow it's like I have this, maybe that's my question. I have this background programming that I have been undoing for a number of years. And sometimes I have the impression that there are still shreds of it, and they kind of intrude into my normal life,
Sure.
And do you have any suggestions? Do I just keep doing what I have been doing?
Let's see. Well, what you need, the reason I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with the conferencing call. So it says that there's a connection error. But no, I was listening to your question, and what you want to do is you want to be sure and do your deprogramming work, such as outlined in Hyperspace Helper, and you want to be sure to keep the brown merger symbol at the pineal gland.
Okay.
And that will help you all the time, but you must be constantly doing your deprogramming work.
All right, because one thing that has been happening for the past 10 years is like I am always on the running mode in the sense that I cannot stay put in one line too long because then I am so heavily attacked, you know?
Right, and you know, we're attacked all the time.
Yes,
so you
I
have to be able to, that's what makes you strong. So you have to be able to withstand the attack. So that brown merger will help you as long as all your protection techniques, as well as dealing with any of the weak issues inside of yourself or places that need to be stronger. And as long as you keep working on that and utilize any outer attacks as a way to make you strong.
Yeah, because the one of the byproducts of this is that I have been alone for a number of years, and I don't seem to see any chance of having a mate, you know.
Well,
because
we're going to change that.
Okay.
You know, we're going to change that. So if you don't see a chance, you're not going to attract that. So now you're going to start seeing a chance that can happen. And when you put that out there and you allow that to happen, then you're going to bring in a nice support system for yourself.
Good.
So, and that includes a mate. So we're going to release that old mind pattern and re-imprint you with one that says, I now have the perfect mate.
Okay, thank you so much. Because it's a pattern of isolation, like I am in a prison of some sort, you know?
Absolutely,
so
that's the way they want you.
Yeah, I keep bursting it and bursting it and bursting, but it's just so tiresome, you know, and it's just like...
Now that's because you keep inviting it back. So what you're going to have to replace it. So when something goes out of you, you have to put something in. So when you do your deprogramming work and what you no longer need goes out, then you have to fill yourself up with something that you do need. And let's say pale pink for unconditional love of self.
Okay.
That's a perfect one to use. So it's out with the bad, in with the good, so to speak.
All right. Okay. Because I've been filling myself with golden liquid love. That's what I have been doing.
Gold is God, mind, wisdom. So that's good, but it's not the love. So the God, mind, wisdom is what you're filling yourself with. But now let's also do pale pink, because the issue is you caring enough about yourself. And when you love yourself, then you can attract someone else who will love you as well.
Yes, but if I may just say one more thing. One time when I was doing this and I felt like I was completely filled with this gold liquid love, then I felt that for some reason it was all emptied out, you know, like somebody opened that thing that you put on the sink to accumulate water. It was like somebody just took it out and the golden liquid just left, and I was empty.
Yeah, and so you have to keep something in there. And you keep it 24/7, and the pale pink is the best thing for now. It's the easiest, so to speak.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Janet. Yeah, God
You're
bless.
welcome. We're so happy that you joined us on the call. And I'm not sure if anybody else can hear us, because we're having trouble with our conferencing. But I want to thank everyone for joining us, and we will be sending out hopefully a recording. Hopefully this was recorded and we didn't lose the first 95% of the call. And as soon as we know, that will come out, and we look forward to speaking with everyone again next month.
Okay.
Bye for now.
All righty. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.